overall safety. So without further ado, tonight, the 2023 ASH New York Metro Small Project of the Year Award goes to the MTA CND QMM-371 and QMM-372 Tunnel Sealing, Cleaning, and Tunnel Preservation at the Queens Midtown Tunnel. Congratulations to the winning team. To give tonight's presentation on this project will be the project's resident representative and engineer, Mr. Daniel Geralimov from Enovate. Enovate is a CMPM and engineering firm focused on public infrastructure, transportation, and infrastructure projects nationally and here in the tri-state area. Daniel Geralimov has been with Enovate for over a year, and really throughout his time he's been on a number and a variety of different projects, including this Queens Midtown Tunnel project, a DSNY composting facility project, and a NYCHA boiler upgrade replacement project, which he is on currently and doing a fine job. Daniel has over 10 years of experience in construction management, resident engineering, and inspection. He has overseen many different types of projects, including tunnel upgrades, parks rehabilitations, power upgrades, filtration plants, facilities construction, and recreation centers. I could go on, but I'll stop. Ensuring compliance and safety on each project. He is adept in coordination with key stakeholders and has provided results in completing projects within budget and schedule. And really on this project, coordination between many different stakeholders was key. So at this time, I'd like to call Daniel up to the stage to give tonight's presentation on this award-winning project. Daniel?
Good evening, everyone. I'm just going to stand here. It's going to make my life easier. There's a lot I'm going to be pointing out during this presentation, so I just want everyone's attention. Thank you again for everyone for being here. On behalf of Enovate, we're all really thrilled and excited to be here with you tonight, presenting the 2023 Small Project of the Year over at the Queens Midtown Tunnel, Tunnel Sealing, Cleaning, and Tunnel Preservation Services. If you look over to your left, you'll see all the major players involved here, starting with MTA Construction and Development. They were the project owner and designer. Enovate was the CM on site. ODA's General Contracting performed work on Contract 371, the tunnel sealing cleaning portion. And New York International Builders performed work on Contract 372, tunnel preservation. Next slide, please. Before I dive into the project details, I wanted to introduce everyone involved, starting with Enovate. We were the CM on site. We are a certified MWBE, DBE, and SBE. We were founded originally in 2017, and we've had incredible growth since then, growing to 50 employees up until the end of last year. And we've also consistently won awards, Great Places to Work awards from the Fortune 500 company, which is something that we're all really extremely happy about. Now, while we do have a core concentration area of projects over along the Northeast, we do have ongoing projects over along the West Coast, Midwest, and down South. Some of our projects, in addition to construction management services, we also specialize and have divisions in transportation and planning, as well as monitoring and instrumentation. Next slide, please. Now an introduction to our contractors on site, starting with ODA's General Contracting. They performed work on Contract 371, the tunnel sealing cleaning portion, led by Chief Executive Officer Mr. Ahmed Aouda. They are based out of New Jersey and have successful construction experience on both small and large-scale construction projects throughout the New York City area. Some of their clientele include the MTA, the School Construction Authority, and DASNY. Moving along to Contract 372, highlighted by New York International Builders. They have also been in the scene for 10 years, led by Mr. Bonnie Parikh, President of New York International Builders, and Mr. George Marissis, VP of New York International Builders. They have performed successfully through various sectors within our industry in the last 10 years. Some of their clients include New York City's EDC, DDC, Parks and Rec, as well as the School Construction Authority and the MTA as well. Next slide, please. Now I'd like to introduce the project organization chart for all the direct points of contact involved here, starting with the project owner and designer, the MTA Construction and Development, led by Facility Engineering Director, Mr. Lou Andriani, and Assistant Director and Project Manager of our contract, Mr. Shah Chadros, who I'm happy to say is in our audience tonight, makes me very happy. On the CM side, before I continue, I would just like to point out that these gentlemen from the MTA C&D site were extremely vital as they set forth all the expectations of our project and the guidelines to be followed. An absolute pleasure to work with because for some of us, this is actually our first time working in any tunnel capacity. So their input was vital. Next up, we have the CM Innovate, highlighted by my VP of Construction Management Services, Mr. Sajid Sheikh, and myself as the resident representative. Please disregard the photo, that was taken a really long time ago. Moving on to the contractors, ODA General Contracting performed 371, spearheaded by their lead superintendent, Mr. Mariusz Kurkowski, and for New York International Builders performing 372, that was spearheaded by their superintendent, Mr. Shalton Ramsamy, who I'm happy to see in the audience tonight. Next slide, please. Here's the scope of work for both contracts. As mentioned, 371 encompassed only tunnel ceiling cleaning. That includes the entire length along both the north and the south too. For contract 372, New York International Builders cleaned the entire drainage system, both inside the tunnel and along the Queens and Manhattan plazas. This also involved cleaning of the catwalks, concrete barriers, polymer panels, and curbs. I would also like to point out that maintenance and protection of traffic was extremely vital and handled very well by both contractors, and I'm really happy to say that both contractors showed tremendous efforts in completing their portions of the project, as well as guaranteeing the safety of the general public and everyone involved. An absolute pleasure. Next slide, please. Some general site information. So the tunnel ground for this tunnel was actually originally broken in 1936 and opened to the general public by November of 1940. Since then, it has become a critical link connecting Queens with Midtown Manhattan underneath the East River. And even now, we actually have, we've seen averages of where this tunnel experiences 80,000 vehicles daily. Next slide, please. Some more general site information. The north and the south tube are just over 6,000 linear feet in length. Now that is on a per lane basis, so if you factor in both lanes by both contractors, that's over 12,000 linear feet of work performed by both contractors strictly inside the tunnel. The Queens Plaza has just underneath 500 feet of linear feet on both sides, the entrance and the exit. The Manhattan Plaza is a bit more extensive. It encompasses more linear footage, and we'll see that more in the slides to come. Next slide, please. Here's the site general plan. Forgive me if it's a bit grainy, but I wanted everyone to see the project plan from this perspective. Up above, you'll see the westbound north tube circled in red. Down below, you have the eastbound south tube. You have the Manhattan and Queens entrances and exits on both sides, and I would like everyone to see the ventilation buildings in both boroughs. That is something I'll be referencing later in the project. Next slide, please. Now, while the project plan from that perspective shows us how fast that project was, it begins our discussion to the complexities of a project of this nature. Now, coordination-wise and sequencing-wise, added a whole other layer of complexity entirely. Over to your right, you'll see the general order of how everything was coordinated and sequenced on a nightly basis. Starting with MTA's construction and development, they submitted monthly lane closure schedules, which we all followed. Next in line was us. Before the project hours, every night, I made sure to go to the Midtown Tunnel front desk. Their front desk, you'll see the picture on your left. They monitor all tunnel activity with their security systems every night, so I thought it was crucial that they should be up to speed on everything that we had scheduled, as I'm the type to, I don't like to experience any surprises on any of my sites, so I thought that was vital to keep them on the same page. Right after that, we have the TDTA officers. They patrol tunnels, full length of the tunnels, both inside and out, and they also provide assistance in lane closures. Then discussions, coordination-wise, with both contractors, considering forecasting how much work we have left, where we last left off, as well as safety before every shift. Some nights we actually had other ongoing projects along the same lane, sometimes ahead of us, sometimes behind us. That was also field discussed with everyone at the meetup points, which I'll get into in a second. And last but not least, the QMT night crew, they provided the lane closure schedules, and they also sometimes had preventative maintenance work